Hi, I am Savaya, lecturer in physics, working in Vignan institutions. In this session, I am going to explain about nuclei. Have you any idea about the principle of the atom bomb? Have you any idea about the working of the nuclear reactor? We are receiving continuously energy from the sun. Do you know the principle about the energy produced by the sun? To know the reasons for all these, we should know about the nucleus of the atom. In this chapter, we are going to study in detail about the structure, properties of the nucleus, and the phenomena exhibited by the nucleus. In this session, I am going to explain the composition and the size of the nucleus. Composition and the size of the nucleus. The contents of the today's session are introduction, composition of the nucleus, atomic mass unit, representation of the nucleus, classification of the nucleus, size of the nucleus, and the density of the nucleus. So these topics are going to be discussed in the today's session. Okay? First come to the introduction. In the previous unit, atomic structure, we studied the different atomic structures proposed by the different scientists. In that, the scientist Rutherford performed the alpha particle scattering experiment. By studying the scattering of the alpha particles through the very thin gold foil, he concluded the structure of the atom. According to him, most of the mass and the entire positive charge of the entire positive charge of the atom is concentrated at the center of the atom, and that center of the atom is called as the nucleus. The electrons are revolving around the nucleus in the specified orbits, just like the motion of the planets around the sun. That's why this model is also familiar as the planetary model of the atom. Here, if suppose we study the size of the atom, the size of the atom is in the order of 10 to the power of minus 10 meters, which was estimated by using the kinetic theory of the gases. By studying the scattering of the alpha particles and the scattering of the electrons using the different target atoms, the Rutherford estimated the radius of the nucleus, that is in the order of the 10 to the power of minus 15 meters to 10 to the power of minus 14 meters. It is in the order of 10 to the power of minus 15 meters to 10 to the power of minus 14 meters. By comparing these two, we can say that the radius of the atom is 10 to the power of 4 times more than the radius of the nucleus. Because of that, the volume of the atom is 10 to the power of 12 times more than the volume of the nucleus. Hence, we can simply conclude that most of the space in the atom is empty. If suppose we enlarge the size of the atom to the classroom size, if the size of the atom is in the size of the classroom, then the size of the nucleus is in the just the shape of tip of the pin. The size of the atom is that much of more when compared to the size of the nucleus. So this is the structure of the atom proposed by the Rutherford. Now a question arises. Is there any structure for the nucleus? What are the constituents of the nucleus? what is the mass of the nucleus, what is the size of the nucleus, that is going to be studied in this section. Okay? For that, first come to the composition of the nucleus. If suppose we see the nucleus of any atom, the nucleus of each atom consists of two kinds of the particles, and the two kinds of the elementary particles are named as protons and neutrons. Protons and neutrons. Okay? Next. What are the properties of the protons? What are the properties of the neutrons? First come to the protons. So, these are the protons. Protons are the particles which are having positive charge. So, protons are the positively charged particles present inside the nucleus. Positively charged particles. Then, what is the charge of the proton? We know that the charge of the electron is equal to 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulombs, which is negative. Whereas, the charge of the proton is equal to plus E, that is equal to 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulombs. That means, the charge of the electron is negative, the charge of the proton is positive, both are equal in magnitude. And the mass of the proton is given by 1.67262 into 10 to the power of minus 27 kg. This is the mass of the proton. Already we know the mass of the electron, that mass of the electron is equal to 9.1 into 10 to the power of minus 31 kg. When we compare the mass of the proton with the mass of the electron, the mass of the proton is nearly 1836 times the mass of electron. The mass of the proton is nearly 1836 times the mass of the electron. Generally, the protons are represented by the symbol H11 or H11. The protons are represented by the symbol H11 like this. Right? Now come to the second kind of the elementary particles, neutrons. These are the neutrons present in the nucleus. The neutrons are the neutral particles present in the nucleus. Neutrons are electrically neutral particles present in the nucleus. Neutral means they have no charge. That's why the charge of the neutron is equal to 0. Whereas the mass of the proton is equal to, the mass of the neutron is equal to 1.6749 into 10 to the power of minus 27 kg. This is the mass of the neutron. It is slightly more than the mass of the proton, and whose value is equal to 1839 times the mass of the electron. Whereas the mass of the proton is 1836 times the mass of the electron. This is 1839 times the mass of the electron. Generally, the neutrons are represented by the symbol N01 or N01. For the discovery of the neutron, the scientist Chadwick was awarded Nobel Prize in the year 1932. We will study the discovery of the neutron in the next session. Now, there are some more properties for the neutron. If suppose we see the protons and neutrons present in the nucleus, the neutrons are having less stability when compared to the protons. So, a free neutron is unstable, it is having less stability. Generally, a free neutron decay into proton, electron and antineutrino. We will study the decay process in the part of radioactivity. That too, the lifetime of the free neutron is around 1000 seconds. Okay? So these are the properties of the neutrons. A free neutron is unstable. A free neutron decays into a proton, electron and antineutrino, the average lifetime of the free neutron is nearly 1000 seconds. This is about the neutron. Next, come to the atomic mass unit. So while studying the mass of the proton and mass of the neutrons, we observe that the mass of the proton and the mass of the neutron are in the range of 10 to the power of minus 27 kg, which is very small. So to express such kind of the smaller amounts of the masses, like the mass of the protons, neutrons and electrons, we use another standard unit of the mass. That standard unit of the mass is the atomic mass unit, which is represented as AMU or simply U. What is meant by atomic mass unit? The atomic mass unit is defined as the 1/12 of the mass of the C612 carbon atom. 1/12 of the mass of the one carbon C612 atom. 1/12 of the mass of the one carbon C612 atom. That's why mathematically 1 AMU is equal to mass of C612 divided by 12. That is equal to 1.992647 into 10 to the power of minus 26 kg divided by 12. See, this is the mass of the one carbon atom. By making the mathematical simplification, we have 1 AMU is equal to 1.660538 into 10 to the power of minus 27 kg. This is the one atomic mass unit value in terms of the kgs. Generally, using this atomic mass unit, we express the mass of the elementary particles. If suppose we see the proton, we know that the mass of the proton is equal to 1.67262 into 10 to the power of minus 27 kg. When you divide this one with 1.660539 into 10 to the power of minus 27 kg, we get the answer in the AMU. That value is equal to 1.00727 AMU or simply U. So the mass of the proton is equal to 1.00727 atomic mass units, which is very close to 1 AMU. Similarly, the mass of the neutron is equal to 1.6749 into 10 to the power of minus 27 kg. When you convert that mass into the AMU, that value is equal to 1.00866 atomic mass units. Okay? Similarly, if suppose we see the mass of the electron, that mass of the electron is equal to 9.1 into 10 to the power of minus 31 kg. If we measure the value in atomic mass units, this value is equal to 0.00055 atomic mass units. This is the mass of the electron in atomic mass units. Okay? The mass of the proton and the mass of the neutron are very close to one another and they are close to the one atomic mass unit value. Right? This is about the expression of the mass of the proton and the neutron in terms of the atomic mass unit. Right? Now come to the representation of the nucleus of an element. How to represent the nucleus of the element? Here, the nucleus of any element is represented as XZA. Sometimes this is also represented as XZA. Here, what is X, what is Z, what is A? This X is the symbol used for the element, whereas this A is the mass number. And Z is the atomic number. Okay? Now, what is meant by the atomic number? what is meant by the mass number. Here, the atomic number is defined as the number of the protons present in the nucleus. The number of the protons present in the nucleus, which is also equal to the number of the electrons present in the orbits for a neutral atom. For a neutral atom. That means, in case of the neutral atom, the number of the protons present in the nucleus is equal to the number of the electrons revolving around the nucleus in the orbits. Next, what is mass number? The mass number is defined as the total number of the protons and neutrons. The total number of the protons and neutrons. Generally, these protons and the neutrons together are called as nucleons. These two are called as the nucleons. That's why the mass number is also defined as the total number of the nucleons present in the nucleus, which is equal to the total number of the protons and neutrons. Here we have the total number of the protons and neutrons. Here we have the number of the protons. Then can we calculate the number of the neutrons present in the nucleus? Yes. The number of the neutrons present in the nucleus is equal to A minus Z. Number of the protons plus neutrons minus the number of the protons will give you the total number of the neutrons present in the nucleus, that N is equal to A minus Z. That's why just by seeing the symbol of the any element, we can identify how many number of the protons are there, how many number of the neutrons are there, and how many number of the nucleons are there in the nucleus. For that, see one example. In the nucleus C612, here C is the symbol of the element carbon and it is represented as C612. In that C612, we want to calculate the number of the protons and the number of the neutrons. For that, here, what is the atomic number? The atomic number is 6 and the mass number is 12. That's why in the given element, the atomic number is equal to 6 and the mass number is equal to 12. So, the atomic number gives the number of the protons. So, the number of the protons present in the nucleus is equal to 6. And the number of the neutrons present in the nucleus is equal to N, that is equal to A minus Z, that is equal to 12 minus 6, that is equal to 6. That's why in the nucleus of C612, there are 6 protons and 6 neutrons. See one more example. In the nucleus, uranium-92-238, how many protons are there, how many neutrons are there? Here, the atomic number is equal to 92 and the mass number is equal to 238. That's why Z is equal to 92 and A is equal to 238. So the number of the protons is equal to the atomic number, that is equal to 92. Whereas the number of the neutrons is equal to the mass number minus the atomic number, that is 238 minus 92, that is equal to 146. That's why in case of the nucleus of uranium-92-238, there are 92 protons and 146 neutrons. Like this, for any nucleus, we can find out the number of the protons and the number of the neutrons. Okay? So, atomic number gives the number of the protons, mass number minus atomic number gives the number of the neutrons present in the nucleus. Come to the next one, that is the classification of the nuclei. Based on the atomic number and the mass number of the nuclei, the nuclei are classified into different categories. They are isotopes, isobars, isotones, and isomers. What are isotopes, what are isobars, what are isotones, and what are isomers? First come to the isotopes. Isotopes. The nuclei having the same atomic number but different mass number are called as isotopes. Having same atomic number but different mass number. Atomic number is same, mass number is different. Such nuclei are called as the isotopes. For example, H11, H12, H13. This H11 is the nucleus of the hydrogen atom, which is named as a proton. H12 is the deuterium, H13 is the tritium. So, when you identify the atomic numbers and the mass number, all these three are having the same atomic number 1, whereas the mass number of the hydrogen is 1, the mass number of the deuterium is 2, and the mass number of the tritium is 3. They have the same atomic number but different mass number. See here, in case of the isotopes, the number of the neutrons are different. Okay? Atomic number is same, mass number is different, the number of the neutrons are also different. See another example. Uranium 92-235, uranium 92-238. The atomic number is same 92, whereas the mass numbers are different 235 and 238. That's why these two nuclei are also treated as the isotopes of the element uranium. Okay? Next, we are going to study something about the isotopes. See here, the atomic number is same. That's why the nuclei of isotopes are treated as the nuclei of same element. Nuclei of same element. So the isotopes are the nuclei of the same element. This is the uranium element, this is the element hydrogen, just the mass number is different, but these are the elements of same kind. One more thing is, we know that the chemical properties of the elements depends upon the configuration of the electrons. Here, in case of the proton, deuterium and tritium, or in case of this uranium 92, uranium 238, uranium 92, 235, కట్ చేద్దాం. Generally, the isotopes are the nuclei of same element. So this is the uranium 92-235, uranium 92-238, which are the isotopes of the same element uranium. But one more thing is, we know that the chemical properties of the atom depends upon the configuration of the electrons. Here, in case of this uranium 92-235 and uranium 92-238, the atomic number is same, so that the number of the electrons is also same, so that electronic configuration is also same. Whenever electronic configuration is same, the chemical properties are also same. That's why the isotopes have the same chemical properties. They have the same chemical properties. But one more thing is, we know that the modern periodic table is designed by taking the atomic number into the consideration while arranging the elements in the table. Here, the isotopes are having the same atomic number. That's why the isotopes of the same element are located in the same location of the periodic table. They are located in the same location of the periodic table. Okay? Now come to the isobars. The nuclei having the same mass number but different atomic number are called as isobars. Having same mass number but different atomic numbers. They are called as isobars. For example, if we consider the nucleus of C614 and N714, here the mass numbers are same, whereas the atomic numbers are different, as shown in the screen. If suppose we tabulate the things, this is for C614, this is for N714. The atomic, the silent level. ఎవరు నేను పెట్టాను సైలెంట్లో ఏ నరేంద్ర
36
క్లోజ్ చేయి నరేంద్ర లావడాలి आप भी కూడా వైబ్రేషన్ సైలెంట్లో పెట్టాను కదా ఇంటూ వరకు నొక్కాను కదా పెట్టి సైలెంట్లో పెట్టు Isobars are the nuclei having the same mass number but different atomic numbers. Having same mass number isobars are the nuclei having the same mass number but different atomic number. Having the same mass number but different atomic numbers. So let us see the example here. C614 and N714 are the isobars. Why? Because the mass numbers are same for both of the nuclei but the atomic numbers are different. If suppose we tabulate the things, for C614 the atomic number is equal to 6, the mass number is equal to 14, whereas for N714 the atomic number is equal to 7, the mass number is equal to 14. Here the atomic number is different whereas the mass number is same. In case of the two nuclei, the number of the neutrons is equal to 8 for C614 and the number of the neutrons is equal to 7 for N714. That's why in case of the isobars, the mass number is same, the atomic number is different and the number of the neutrons is also different. Now when you observe the example, this is the nucleus of carbon, this is the nucleus of the nitrogen. Because their atomic number is different, the isobars are related to the nuclei of different element. That one more thing is, as the atomic number is different, the number of electrons is also different. That's why the electronic configuration is also different for the isobars. That's why they have different chemical properties. They have different chemical properties. That too, their atomic number is different. That's why the isobars are located in the different locations of the periodic table. Okay? They are of nuclei of different elements. They have different chemical properties and they are located in the different locations of the periodic table. Now come to the isotones. The isotones are the nuclei of different elements having same neutron number but different atomic numbers. Here the number of the neutrons is same, but the atomic numbers are different. Okay, the nuclei having the same neutron number but different atomic number are defined as the isotones. For example, if suppose we consider the nucleus of calcium 2040 and potassium 1939, the atomic numbers are different and the mass numbers are also different, but they have equal number of the neutrons. See the tabular form. Here, the number of the neutrons are calculated in this tabular form. For the calcium 2040, the number of the neutrons is equal to 40 minus 20, that is equal to 20. For potassium 1939, the number of the neutrons is equal to 39 minus 19, that is equal to 20. Here, the atomic number is different, the mass number is different, but they have equal number of the neutrons. So the nuclei having equal number of the neutrons are called as the isotones. Because here the atomic numbers are different, the isotones are the nuclei of different elements. The nuclei of different elements. Because the atomic number is different, the electronic configuration is also different. That's why they possess different chemical properties. And they are also located in the different locations of the periodic table. Why? Because their atomic number is different. Okay? They are of nuclei of different elements. They have different chemical properties and they are located in the different locations of the periodic table. Come to the isomers. These are the nuclei having the same atomic number, same mass number, but possesses different properties like radioactive decay and the magnetic moments. Okay? Such nuclei are called as the isomers, having the same atomic number, same mass number, but possesses different nuclear properties such as radioactive decay and the magnetic moments. Generally, these isomers are forming during the radioactive decay. Let us see the examples. This is the nickel 2860, this is the nickel 2860. So, during the radioactive decay, let us assume that this nickel 2860 is forming, which is in the excited state. So, after emitting the gamma radiation, let us assume that it is coming to the ground state. So, this is the nucleus of nickel, this is also the nucleus of the nickel, but this is in the excited state, this is in the ground state. That's why their energy values are different. That's why they possess different radioactive decay properties and also they possess different magnetic moment values. Such kind of the nuclei are called as isomers. Okay? So we studied about the isotopes, isobars, isotones and isomers based upon the atomic number, mass number and the number of the neutrons. Now come to the size of the nucleus. Rutherford estimated the size of the nucleus by studying the scattering of the alpha particles and electrons projecting onto the different target materials. And he observed that nuclei of different elements are having different sizes. That too, he assumed that the nucleus of any atom is in the shape of a sphere. That too, the size of the nucleus depends upon the mass number of the nucleus. So from the observations, he concluded that the radius of nucleus of any atom is given by cubed root of the mass number. R is proportional to a to the power of 1 by 3 or R is equal to R naught a power 1 by 3. This proportionality is removed by introducing a constant, that is the radius of the nucleus of any atom. R is equal to R naught a power 1 by 3. Here R naught is a constant whose value is equal to 1.2 into 10 to the power of minus 15 meters. And A is the mass number of the nucleus. If mass number is more, the radius of the nucleus is also more. If mass number is less, the radius of the nucleus is also less. So this gives the formula for the radius of the nucleus of any atom. So from this we conclude that the radius of the any nucleus is directly proportional to the cubed root of the mass number of that element. Next come to the volume of the nucleus. Already we studied that the nucleus is in the shape of the sphere. By knowing the radius of the sphere, we can determine the volume of the sphere by using the formula V is equal to 4 by 3 pi r cube. Here r is the radius of the nucleus, which is given by the formula r naught a power 1 by 3. So by substituting that we have V is equal to 4 by 3 pi r naught cube a. Why? Because r is equal to r naught a power 1 by 3. By substituting this value, we have this. The volume V is equal to 4 by 3 pi r naught cube a. 4 by 3 is constant, pi is constant, r naught is constant. That's why the volume of the nucleus is always directly proportional to the mass number. The volume is directly proportional to the mass number. That's why the radius of the nucleus is proportional to the a power 1 by 3, whereas the volume of the nucleus is proportional to the mass number e. This is about the volume of the nucleus. By knowing the volume of the nucleus, we can estimate the density of the nucleus. Suppose, let us consider the nucleus XZA. It contains Z number of the protons and it contains A number of the nucleons, which is equal to the total number of the protons and neutrons. That's why the number of the nucleons present in the nucleus is equal to mass number A, which is nothing but the sum of the protons and neutrons. And let us assume that mass of the proton is equal to mass of the neutron is equal to m, which is nearly equal to 1 atomic mass unit. Let it be taken as small m. We know the total number of the nucleons and also we know the mass of the each nucleon. Then we calculate the total mass of the nucleus. The total mass of the nucleus is equal to m, that is equal to am, that is equal to a into 1.67 into 10 to the power of minus 27 kg, which is nearly equal to 1 atomic mass unit. So it gives the mass of the nucleus. Now to determine the density, we should know the volume of the nucleus, what we calculated in the previous screen. The volume of the nucleus is given by V is equal to 4 by 3 pi r cube, that is equal to 4 by 3 pi r naught cube. So by substituting the pi value, r naught value, we have the volume V is equal to 4 by 3 into 22 by 7 into 1.2 into 10 to the power of minus 15 whole cube A. This is equal to 7.24 into 10 to the power of minus 45 times mass number E. Here we have the mass of the nucleus, here we have the volume of the nucleus. By knowing the mass and volume of the nucleus, the density can be calculated by using the formula density is equal to mass by volume, and that is equal to substitute the mass of the nucleus and substitute the volume of the nucleus in this equation. Then we have A into 1.678 into 10 to the power of minus 27 divided by 7.24 into 10 to the power of minus 45 into E. So this AA cancelled. By making the mathematical simplification, we have the density of the nucleus as 2.29 into 10 to the power of 17 kg per meter cube. This is the density of the nucleus. Okay, so first we calculate the mass of the nucleus, then we calculate the volume of the nucleus, and at last we have the density of the nucleus. So by seeing this, what can you say about the density of the nucleus? Already we know that the density of the water is equal to 1000 kg per meter cube, whereas the density of the mercury is equal to 13,600 kg per meter cube, what we studied in the previous classes, whereas the density of the nucleus is equal to 2.29 into 10 to the power of 17 kg per meter cube. Let us compare these two values. So when you observe the density of the nucleus, the density of the nucleus is very, very large when compared to the density of the water or the density of the mercury or the density of the substances available in the nature, so that we conclude that the nucleus density is having a very large value. It is having a very large value. And the next one is the density of the nucleus is constant. So there is no other terms of atomic number, mass number, number of the protons, number of the neutrons present in the nucleus. That's why simply we can say that the density of the nucleus is constant, which is constant for all the nuclei of the atoms. Okay? The nuclear density does not depend on the mass number. So all the nuclei having the same density values. Right? So in this session, we studied the composition of the nucleus, then we studied about the atomic mass unit value, then we studied about the properties of the protons, neutrons, and expressing the mass of the protons and neutrons in terms of the atomic mass unit values. Then we studied the representation of the nucleus, classification of the nucleus, and at last we studied the radius of the nucleus, volume of the nucleus, and the density of the nucleus. Using the things what we studied in the present session, I am going to explain you some problems related to the formulae studied. Come to the first problem. The ratio of the radii of the nuclei Al 1327 and Te 52-125 is dash. Here two nuclei are given for us. For the first one, the mass number is equal to 27. For the second one, the mass number is equal to 125. We want to compare the ratio of the radii of the two nuclei. We know that the radius of the nuclei is directly proportional to a to the power of 1 by 3. From this we can write R1 by R2 is equal to A1 by A2 whole power 1 by 3, that is equal to 27 divided by 125 whole power 1 by 3, which is equal to 3 divided by 5. Therefore, the ratio of the radii of the two given nuclei is equal to 3:5. Here, the radii is directly proportional to the cube root of the mass number of the nucleus. This is the formula used to solve the problem. Come to the next problem. A nucleus splits into two nuclear parts having radii in the ratio 1:2. Then the velocities are in the ratio dash. Suppose this is the nucleus. Let A is the mass number of the nucleus. It divides into the two nuclear parts like this. Say whose mass numbers are A1 and A2. Already we know that from the law of conservation of linear momentum, the total momentum is conserved during the breaking of the nucleus. That's why these two nuclear fragments are moving in the opposite directions. with equal momentums. If suppose V1 and V2 are the velocities of the two fragments, we can write it as A1 V1 is equal to A2 V2, which is similar to the formula M1 V1 is equal to M2 V2. Here A1 A2 are the mass numbers of the two fragments, V1 V2 are the velocities of the two fragments. We want to find out the ratio of the velocities, that is V1 by V2 is equal to A2 by A1. But here the ratio of the mass numbers is not given, the ratio of the radii are given, that's why we can write it as R2 by R1 whole cube. Why? Because R is proportional to A power 1 by 3 and A is proportional to R cube. Using that we have A2 by A1 is equal to R2 by R1 whole cube. Therefore, V1 by V2 is equal to R2 by R1 is 2 by 1 whole cube, that is equal to 8 by 1. So, for these two fragments, the ratio of the velocities is given by V1 is to V2 is equal to 8 is to 1. Right, here we use the two principles. One is the law of conservation of momentum. A1 V1 is equal to A2 V2. Other one is the relation between the radius and the mass number of the nuclei. Come to the next problem. A heavy nucleus at rest breaks into the two fragments which fly off with velocities 8 is to 1. The ratio of the radii of the fragments is dash. See the difference between this one and the previous problem. In the previous problem, ratio of the radii is given, we determine the ratio of the velocities. Here the ratio of the velocities is given, we want to determine the ratio of the radii. This is the original nucleus. It divides into two nuclear fragments of mass numbers A1, A2, which fly off with velocities V1 and V2. It is given that the ratio of the velocities V1 is to V2 is equal to 8 is to 1. And we want to find out the ratio of the radii. From the law of conservation of linear momentum, we know that A1 V1 is equal to A2 V2. We know that the radius is directly proportional to the cube root of the mass number of the nucleus. From this we can write R1 by R2 is equal to A1 by A2 whole to the power of 1 by 3. From this A1 by A2 is equal to V2 by V1, so that R1 by R2 is equal to V2 by V1 whole to the power of 1 by 3. From this we have R1 by R2 is equal to 1 by 8 whole to the power of 1 by 3, which is equal to 1 is to 2. Right? By knowing the ratio of the radii, we can find out the ratio of the velocities, or by knowing the ratio of the velocities, we can find out the ratio of the radii whenever a nucleus splits into the two nuclear fragments. Okay? I think you understand the concepts explained by me. So, we will meet again in the next session. Thank you one and all.